Hi, my name is Ken Candelas, and welcome to another episode of Metal Mastermind. Now, today we're going to talk about something that's very exciting for me because I've been looking for this solution for God knows how long. As an independent studio owner, you have to understand that doing this on your own takes so much time, which means aspiring to get the gear that you dream of takes time, takes money, effort. You're going to be doing this for a long time before you get to really start getting the things that you really want for your studio, okay? At first, we need to find solutions that help make us more efficient with what we got. And let me give you the answer, because it was for me too. It's called Audiomovers. Now, Audiomovers is an amazing company. It was actually created by Abbey Road Studios and all this kind of really amazing stuff that what they do is create a solution for audio over IP. Now, as an educator, I am obsessed with learning the technologies of today. I experiment so much with Dolby Atmos, and we're going to get to all of that and how we use Audiomovers with Dolby Atmos so you can get the maximum efficiency from your setup. Now, I have to tell you one thing, because this is what made Audiomovers so impressive to me. Let me show you Omnibus. This is Omnibus. It's a matrix. It is a virtual patch bay. It allows you to create a subscription from point A to point B, right? Or just a plug, right? If you were doing this on an analog patch bay, you take a wire and go from point A to point B, okay? Same concept. You can now attach any virtual audio device or hardware device that is connected to your computer via USB, Thunderbolt, doesn't matter. And it will be picked up by Omnibus, where then you can take the ins and outs, route it however you like. As you're seeing here, this is just an example of what I'm doing in my studio. Now, this was my dilemma that I want to explain to you so that you understand my story here, okay? I have 3 USB interfaces, okay? Now, these USB interfaces are made by Antelope. They're good friends of mine, and I am really, really into their converters and all this kind of stuff, and they have a lot of ins and outs. Now, I've acquired Antelope products over the course of many years, so, these are not like cheap units, but they are very good for the money. However, when it came to expandability, I was really looking to see, hey, with these Antelope products, can I get any more out of them? Like, I could do things like ADAT, SPDIF, analog, whatever, but I would still be limited by the things that I could do on the interfaces themselves. So enter Omnibus, okay? Where now I can actually have all of my interfaces connected to my computer as well as to each other. I can now leverage all those different connections how I see fit, also from content within my computer. So now I can use this to go above and beyond. Check it out, okay? This is just one computer in my studio, okay? Yes, so my studio does not just have one computer, but it runs with 2. I use 2 computers in order to do what I'm going to demonstrate for you today, the power of Omnibus and Audiomovers, okay? This is very exciting. I can't tell you how excited I am because this is something that I've always wanted to do. Imagine the amount of possibilities that will await you when you use something like this. Okay, so let's go over to the second machine and show you what's happening. Okay. So this is now my second machine, and you are now looking at an entirely different setup for Omnibus on this computer. Now, let's just backtrack for a second. Why do I have this? And it's not just for me to play around with, okay, guys? I actually am using this because I work in Dolby Atmos at high sample rates at 96 kilohertz. The reason why I do that is so that all the data that I'm working with just has more resolution while I'm editing, producing, mixing, etc. Okay? So I do it at that resolution for quality. But it's hard on my computer to process not just all of the things that I'm doing in the mix, but also Atmos at the same time at a resolution like that. So this is where a secondary computer this is actually an M1 Mac. It's plenty fine for doing what it's got to do. It just renders stuff from Dolby. So I don't need to overcomplicate the machine. Why do I have to get one badass machine? Why can't I just have a really good machine, as good as I can make it for the money, and then have a secondary machine that's not as expensive nowadays because it is already on the used market and it does just fine, right? So here's a sort of cheap way of being able to get yourself more processing power for your audio applications, especially for Atmos. So now on this machine, right, we're looking at all the interfacing that's happening here. This is also happens to be my streaming computer whenever I do things like this for YouTube. So now I have all of this stuff offloaded, not on my main machine, on a secondary computer. Okay, so now let's talk about what I want to show you with Atmos today. This is the power of Audiomovers, okay? So I'm going to show you first that Dolby Atmos is playing in a 5.1 configuration. Now, I want to explain something else to you as well. When you play in 5.1, okay, you can actually experience this on YouTube in your settings. So if you activate surround sound and you have a surround sound capable television for a sound bar, or you have your own home theater receiver system, you can actually hear this in 5.1 over YouTube. And I'm just doing this live into the recording, okay? So just sit back and just enjoy a little bit of Homerik, which is my creation. I am the composer. I am called the Mad Composer, actually. And it is a philosophical metal project that is an adaptation of Dante's Inferno. So why not do it in Dolby Atmos, right? So this is exactly what I want to demonstrate to you today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to it in 5.1. And then what I'm going to show you is how does it sound with binaural and stereo. And you don't need to change your setup at all, except maybe going from speakers, if you got them, to headphones. That's it. So if you are listening on headphones and don't have 5.1 at this point, you'll just probably hear the left and right channels and not the other stuff. So here we go. All right, guys, before we go any further, I just need to give a quick disclaimer. Okay, this is me in the post-production end of this video, looking back and seeing how we can make things work. But I need you to understand that working with YouTube with 5.1 surround sound can be a little tricky, and the binaural experience running through a software like OBS. For live streaming, I highly recommend using the Audiomovers plugin Listen To, where you can have a dedicated stream for your audience to listen to the highest quality lossless audio. Now, since this is a pre-recorded thing for YouTube, I use OBS in the process, but like I said, I'm still experimenting just to see how this might turn out for future endeavors. I would not recommend using OBS alone if you're aiming for the highest fidelity for your audio stream, okay? So while this video offers valuable insights on how to integrate Audiomovers to enhance your workflow, just keep in mind, especially of course when working things like Atmos or Sony 360, I want you to stay tuned for future updates and improvements. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy the content. Okay, so that's a lot of fun. I love Homerik. It is so epic. It's got this like cinematic feel and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to make it in Atmos because to me, it just made sense for the concept that I was trying to bring to life. But we're not done. So now is a good time to put on those headphones because we are going to listen to this in stereo and binaural. And I'm going to show you more than one binaural format, all using Audiomovers. Okay, so the next product of Audiomovers that I want to bring to your attention is the binaural renderer for Apple Music. This thing is a game changer because back when I was doing Atmos without this, I had to go into my settings. I had to change the configuration to only play through headphones. I had the option of doing a separate path for my headphone output, but then what would happen is that I would not have the right amount of control to make multiple outputs hear the same input. There was a bunch of stuff that I needed to do that I couldn't do in order to make it work seamlessly. I needed really a networking device. This now happens with Omnibus. So now what I can do is I can send my Dolby Atmos 714 information right into this renderer, and what will happen is that the renderer will decode the information, allowing me to just listen to all the individual selections that I have here, which I have the 2.0 Direct, which is the stereo version. We've got the Dolby Binaural, which is Dolby's interpretation of space. And then I have the spatial render for Apple Music's version of how they interpret space. Now, if you didn't know, yes, Apple Music sounds different than Tidal when it comes to Atmos content. And if you're even more curious, the correct one is Tidal, because that's the one that actually uses what you put the settings in for your Dolby binaural render, okay? So this is vital because, yeah, Tidal may have the right one, but Apple is really big. So we care about how our music sounds on Apple for sure, okay? So this is how it goes, okay? I'm going to play the track, and I've already level matched the different types of experience so that what you hear sounds the same across all. And I'll just quickly go through them. You have 2.0 Direct, which is the one we have selected. We have the Dolby Binaural and the spatial render. So just pay attention and look at the screen while I do this so you see which one I select for you. Okay, here we go. Wow. Very, very interesting, huh? Hearing the difference like that is like night and day. When it really comes down to it, you hear the tonal characteristics of what's happening with these different render profiles. Isn't that interesting? This is absolutely an invaluable plugin to have in my system. I will not do Atmos without it at this point. So shout out to Audiomovers. Thank you for providing these licenses for Metal Mastermind, as well as our students if you're actually a part of our courses. So, Audiomovers, props to you. Now, the next thing I want to show you is one more profile for binaural, and it's got nothing to do with Audiomovers. It's actually something called Virtuoso. Now, Virtuoso, let me take this little thing off. Virtuoso is an amazing binaural render. What it does essentially is a lot of research has gone into the makings of these binaural effects. And what it can do for you is exactly master, literally, like audio master your binaural experience. So when I say that this thing is scary good, it is scary good, because what I look at this for is actually for a very interesting other side to working in Atmos, which is, well, does the platform that you want even use Atmos so that you could hear the effects? Well, a lot of the answer might be no. I mean, that makes quite a lot of sense. You're actually, if for most of you, you're probably listening to this in just stereo, but you're getting the binaural effects through my rendering, right? Well, here is where I feel APL's Virtuoso comes to play. When you make Atmos content, you can actually choose to render your files out, called re-renders, as their own baked-in experience. So I can make, let's say, like a dedicated 2.0 mix, dedicated 5.1, a dedicated 714, whatever, and a dedicated binaural, right? So when I use the Dolby binaural, I can actually just hear it as that, or take the Atmos file, plug it into Virtuoso, or pass through it, and actually see what it does for me, and actually record that onto the file. So basically, I make a new file through Virtuoso that allows me to have the Virtuoso experience. Let me just show you what it sounds like. So first things first, I'm going to play the spatial, the Dolby binaural, the 2.0. I'll probably start with the stereo first, and then show you Virtuoso.
To the blackest soul.
Okay. All right. That's enough. I think you could see why I'm really excited about Virtuoso. Okay. Isn't that incredible? The different types of profiles that can be listened to, even recorded through, like Virtuoso can, and the ability to pass all that information seamlessly between two computers is absolutely bonkers. I am so excited for the future of audio and absolutely excited for what's happening with immersive and network audio. Thank you to Audiomovers and Dolby for all of these creations. This helps us as producers, composers, engineers, and artists and musicians bring to life our ideas for the better. Now, if you like this kind of information or you like the way I teach, this is something that I do actually professionally, and it's on metalmastermind.com. Okay, I want you to check out our resources, see what we have to offer for you. We have everything from guitar to audio production, and I'm actually working on a Dolby Atmos course myself right now, going to be using with Audiomovers, and you can bet you'll see more information like this in the future. So if you really like the information, please give a like and comment. What do you think about the information that you heard today? Is this not like the greatest thing since bread, sliced bread? I mean, like, do we have a preference? Do you like Apple Music's renderer, Virtuoso, Dolby, or do you like stereo? If you haven't, you should probably subscribe. So I'll see you on the next one. But don't forget, as always, create your own sound.